I am 33, getting married come October to my fiance Derek. Wedding planning went okay, but as soon as we started sending out invitations the problems began coming our way. Thing is, Derek and I decided the wedding would be child-free. It wasn't out the blue, and this possibility was there. I have a 42 years old brother Paul who's married, but he and his wife suffered from several miscarriages and failed pregnancies during their marriage. They finally were blessed with a son that everyone calls a miracle and a rainbow baby. My nephew is 4 years old, and everyone salutes him and treat him as a king, and also turn blind eye to any misbehaviors he has, which caused him to become loud, destructive, out of control and punish less. When Paul received the invitation and found out kids weren't included, he and mom lost it and decided on an urgent meeting with me and Derek. Paul said, "My son is an exception, right?" I said no, and this rule is to be followed by everyone. He argued that I was making a mistake by excluding my nephew. He and mom went on about how he's a miracle since he's their rainbow baby and grandbaby. Then Paul said he had no problem with my wedding being child-free, but expects me to make an exception for his son. He explicitly said, "You can have your child-free wedding, but you're gonna have to make an exception for my son, and you know why." Eric apologized and said we won't since our friends and my in-laws had kids too, but now have to leave them home and arrange for babysitters, and advised him to do the same. Paul was offended and said if his son isn't invited then he won't come, and gave us an ultimatum to drop out if we don't edit his invitation. That caused my family to freak out because Paul is the only and oldest sibling I have, and they said his presence at the wedding is a must. I had an argument with mom and dad who said the fact I'm choosing this to be my hill to die on and treating Paul and my nephew like that was appalling. They emphasized how my nephew is a special and I should be ashamed to exclude him even when the wedding is child-free. My parents said, if Paul won't come they won't come either, which devastated me a lot and caused me to break down. Derek said they were the ones being unreasonable and disrespectful of our wedding and we should wait, maybe they'll come around eventually, but they've doubled down. This morning my aunt and uncle dropped out as well as my other uncle last week. Paul told everyone and they're supporting him and won't come unless I make an exception for my nephew, but that will upset my guests and they'll call me hypocrite. My family is divided, saying I'm ruining my own wedding, basically saying this is all on me. Not the idiot. You're not the one dying on this hill. Your brother is, and he's involving the rest of the family. If your family cares more about whether a 4-year-old gets to go to a wedding and reception, which, as the only child there, won't be any fun for him, than they do about celebrating you and your new husband, then that will make the decision about which family to spend the holidays with that much easier. You are not being malicious, you are making a decision about your guest list. Your wedding is about you and your fiance, it is not about your nephew or your brother and his wife. The fact that they are making it about them is absolutely shameful. Stand your ground. They have to live with this decision, not you. You haven't done anything wrong here. You could make an exception or change it to a wedding with children, but you don't have to because you don't want to, and I for one say you shouldn't. If you back down on this you'll be backing down for the rest of your life. Please don't live like that. If that means that people who have no respect for you aren't there on your day, then so be it. I know it's shame because you love them and you'll be sad for a bit, but ultimately the only people who should be allowed the privilege of seeing you get married are the people who love and respect you. First of all, I already feel sorry for that kid. If he is allowed to do everything and act however he wants to just because he is a rainbow baby, he will most likely grow up to be absolutely spoiled and disrespectful. As for Paul's behavior, that's just rude. Child-free means child-free, what does he not understand? Not only was he trying to push something on you, but also, did he think of the possible outcome, even if you had agreed to his demand? Suddenly, you'd have everyone offended because his kid could come but mine not. Absurd. For context, I, 32, have never been comfortable around children. As long as they leave me alone, I can be in the same area as them for a while, but I do not want to interact with them much. I have some younger nieces and nephews and have gotten used to them because they are family, but I still don't care to be around them for extended periods of time. This past week I was out with a couple of my friends at a sit-down restaurant. Shortly after we were seated, a family with a young boy, probably about 5, was seated at the table next to us. I was dismayed, but I decided I was not going to show my frustration. However, the boy was very noisy from almost the moment he sat down, and his parents did not seem like they were trying to keep him quiet. As the evening went on, I got more and more angry at this disruption of what should have been a pleasant evening with friends. Eventually the boy started getting out of his chair and running around his table. At one point I decided to excuse myself to the restroom, and that's when it happened. As I got up and started toward the restroom, the kid was out of his chair. I was walking past a table and he, not paying attention, ran out and bumped into my leg. At that point I snapped and shouted at him, "Get away from me, you stupid idiot." He started crying and ran to his mom. Both of his parents started yelling at me, saying how dare call their precious children idiot. I yelled back saying that they should control their child better and that someone could have gotten hurt. As we argued, everyone in the restaurant started looking at us, and eventually a manager came over and threatened to kick us out. By this point the evening was ruined, and my friends and I just paid our checks and left. My friends told me later they thought I was an idiot for going off like I did. I think maybe I should not have said what I did, but I was frustrated that the parents of the child just let him disrupt everything. What do you think? Am I the idiot? You're the idiot. If an adult had accidentally bumped into you, I doubt you would have yelled at them or called them a stupid idiot. You don't have to enjoy children or spend a lot of time with them, but you do have to tolerate their existence, and you don't get to be dismayed that one sits at a nearby table in a public place. You were mad about the kid before he even did anything. I can't judge if the noise level was excessive or if you just decided anything this kid did was going to piss you off. But your reaction is clearly over the top. Whilst I wholeheartedly agree with the sentiment, children running around restaurants making a noise and being uncontrolled disruptive goblins is an issue, yelling at them is a step too far and not your place. If the child was really as disruptive as you say, it may have been worth speaking with a member of staff to let them talk with the parents about the child's behavior. However, I feel that the disruption may be exaggerated to you and just seem worse as you dislike children. The 5-year-old bumping into you does not ever warrant anything involving you stupid idiot. You know you're the idiot and just want the internet to save you. I get it that it's frustrating that the kid's parents let him wander, and I find that frustrating too. I'd even go so far as to say the parents were idiots for not keeping their kid better controlled, but if you went to a family-friendly restaurant, that's a risk you take. Still, none of that warranted you losing your crap, you're a grown man. At one point you were that 5-year-old. No one asked you to have children, but if you want to participate in society and go places children are allowed, you must learn to act in a civilized manner. Be the adult and walk away. So, when I was a kid my dad got married to my stepmom 2 days after my birthday. Which in itself wouldn't be a big deal, but it was a destination wedding, so I had to spend my 13th birthday packing and traveling. Which whatever, it's only one birthday. Then when I was still a teenager my dad's side of the family would just celebrate my birthday the weekend before because of his anniversary, again no big deal. Then I'd celebrate with my mom on my birthday. My 25th is coming up and I decided to have a cookout at my house to celebrate and to show them my new place since I moved. I invited some friends, my mom and stepdad and grandparents. I invited my dad and stepmom to be nice, even though I didn't really expect them to come. Well, he called me yesterday and asked me to have it the weekend after instead because he'd be out of town. I said no. Then he pressed more and asked why not, what's the big deal if you celebrate on the actual or not? It's not like you're a kid, you should grow up and be flexible. I said no, I want to celebrate on my actual birthday, you chose your wedding date, I didn't choose my birthday. I guess he called my grandma and she agreed with me that I didn't choose when to be born then, but said, it's his anniversary, so I should just be nice and have it a different day because he wants to come, but can't. Am I the idiot if I keep it planned for the same day? I just feel like my dad made his bed and now he can sleep in it. Not the idiot. This is ridiculous. The more I write, the more angry I get at your dad's utter selfishness and hypocrisy. He's an adult too, so how about he try practicing a little flexibility? You're his daughter and this is a milestone birthday. I realize you've spent the last 12 years moving your birthday to accommodate his anniversary, that's not even on your birthday, by the way, but you're 25 now and can start choosing to celebrate yourself on your own day. Honestly, make your party bigger and keep it on the same day. He can choose you for a change or start missing out. My mom married my stepdad on my birthday. I wore a black dress with a red sash, the same thing I wore to my grandpa's funeral, and cried the entire ceremony. I told my mom that their marriage would not work cause he's a douche. 5 years later she caught him with his side piece in a hotel room. They were just waiting for her rich husband to die before he left. So I say all this to say, I can totally relate. You are now 25, have your party that I am assuming you are paying for on the day you want. You sacrificed for two selfish folks for too many years and now you can do you. Say sorry, not sorry. You always put that relationship first, now I am putting me first on my day. So, the actual problem is that your dad wants to come and celebrate with you, but can't on the day you're having the party, so he asked if you could have it another day, because he'd like to be there. You made it sound like he was being a real jerk, when in actuality he just wants to be with you. Tell him you'll miss him at the party and make arrangements to go out to dinner together or have them over to your place when they get back to celebrate with you. You're not the idiot. But either is he just wants to hang with you, not really an idiot move. My sister and I had a very big fight 3 years ago and have not spoken since. I suffered a late-term miscarriage after going through IVF. 6 years of prior infertility as well as failed fertility treatments had weighed on us. We struggled to celebrate babies as much as those around us and we took some steps back. But the miscarriage is what broke me. Losing my daughter crushed my soul and I couldn't function. My sister was having her third child at the time and wanted me to show up at her baby shower, which was 6 weeks after my daughter died. I wasn't able to be there and told her ahead of time. She told me she understood but she wanted me to come anyway, that I kept missing things because we were struggling and it felt like we were bitter toward the family. I told her I held no bitterness toward anyone. But my heart was breaking and I couldn't cope. She told me I was selfish. I told her she didn't know the pain of longing for a child and losing the first to come around after years of trying. That she didn't know how much it killed someone. Like I said, we never spoke after. My husband and I were fortunate enough to afford more IVF and our son was born in June. He was early so things were uncertain for a while. But he's thriving now and to celebrate my husband and I decided to throw a little meet the baby party. I don't want my sister there. She told our parents she wants to be. And they all see me as wrong for not extending the invite. Am I the idiot? Gently, you are the idiot. The fact that your sister wants to come means she harbors no negative feelings towards you for not attending hers and she wants to celebrate with you. Well, I understand how hurtful it was for you to lose your baby and I'm so sorry for that. You have an opportunity to repair a relationship that will enable your son to have a relationship with his cousins and you to have your sister back. You had every right to not go to her baby shower. 6 weeks is not enough time to recover from a devastating loss. If you're worried about the event being ruined by your reconnection, try reaching out for lunch instead and try to reconcile before the party. Losing a child is the hardest thing to go through and something you wouldn't wish on your enemy, and unless people have experienced this loss, then they don't know what it's like to be in your shoes, and the thing about grieving is that it doesn't go away a week later. I know firsthand how it feels, and that there's no time limit on grieving, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Given that it's been 3 years and she hasn't offered an apology, it's understandable that you don't want her around. Being an aunt is a privilege and not a given right. She does owe you an apology, and it's up to you as to whether you want her back in your life or not. Do what's best for yourself and your family. Not the idiot. I am a firm believer in the principle that you don't need to accommodate others to babysit them and their feelings. This is an event about you, your family, and more importantly your baby. Regardless of the fight you had with her, if you don't want her there, you are under no obligation to invite her. Adding in the matter of the fight, she completely disregarded your feelings and said you were the selfish one for needing to put your own mental health first. Doesn't sound like a very caring sister. If I were you, I would 100% have distanced her in my life as well. I, 37, and my wife, 36, have a 10-year-old son. He is a very sweet and well-behaved kid. I know all parents say that about their child, but with him, I meant that. He means the world to me. He's a very good student, likes flowers, and his favorite animal is butterflies. He has always been a feminine boy, and that was never a problem to me and my wife. Recently, some issues at school are happening because of this. He told me that his classmates call him weird and pick on him. He said that his friends are being targeted by those same bullies, so they are distancing themselves from my son to avoid that. It's easy to say that Hess has been really down and sad, complaining that Hess feeling lonely all the time. 2 weeks ago was his birthday, so my wife and I made him a birthday party and invited his friends. No one came to the party. He was visibly upset and cried a lot that day. We tried our best to make him feel better. But understandably, nothing really worked. While putting him to bed that night, we talked about what happened and he said, "I'm upset that none of my friends came today, but I'm more upset grandma, my mother, didn't came today." I tried to explain to him that his grandma was a very busy woman, but he said that she dropped everything when the birthday was about her other grandchildren, but seemed to not even do an effort to go to his. Then I noticed that he was right. In the past 3 years she barely visits my son and uses work as an excuse, but she is always available when it comes to my nieces and nephews. In fact, none of my side of the family did. After he went to sleep I called my mother and confronted her about it. She defended herself the whole time, saying that it was only a coincidence that she had time to her other grandchildren, but not to my kid. She said that she's a busy woman and can't always leave things behind to see everyone. I pressured her a lot, and she eventually said the real reason why she wasn't visiting. In her words, I was raising my son to be a gay. He is way too feminine, and she does not agree with that, but if I made a man out of him, she would come by more often. This is why I think I might be an idiot. I called my mom an idiot after that and hang up on her. I don't think calling your own mother an idiot is right, but hell, what else could I say? That was completely unacceptable to her to say about my kid. Hess 10. It's gross for her to assume that Hess gay because he is a feminine kid and like butterflies and there's absolutely nothing wrong on being gay. There's nothing to agree or disagree with that, and my son shouldn't be isolated from his family if he did turn out to be gay. My siblings are calling saying how much she's sorry and that she don't want to lose her son. My part of the family is calling me an idiot because I'm ignoring her and called her an idiot, saying that I should stop with that and forgive her already because she's sorry and is getting old. Not the idiot, and I think you're a fantastic parent. Personally, I am of the belief that once you are a parent, your kids come before all else. Yes, she is your mother, but he is your son. Her getting old is absolutely no excuse for behavior like this. If grandma can learn to use an iPhone, she can learn that it's okay to be gay. I think it's worth giving her a chance to apologize and make amends, but that's all it should be. You haven't done anything wrong here. Your son is lucky to have you. I imagine other words escaped you when you said this to her. Because this is downright hurtful. Children, no matter what age, but especially at his, should only know love from their family. Especially in this scenario when he is having such a rough time of it in the outside world. Your son thought his family was a safe space, and the realization that they were not must have been crushing. I am hoping he doesn't know about what your mother said, but I mean that he expected her to turn up and make his day a lovely one. I think you are right to be hurt. Your mother deserves to lose her son over what she said. It doesn't matter if she is old or not, what she said and what she has done is completely unacceptable by any measure. It doesn't matter if your son is masculine, feminine, straight, gay, or any point in between. Her actions are completely unacceptable. It also doesn't matter if your siblings say she is sorry and feels badly. If she is really sorry, she needs to come to you herself on her knees and apologize to you, your spouse, and, most importantly, your son, and then do the hard work of changing her behavior and making amends to your family.